Is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello there, you there, Roy?
Yes, I am. Hi, Andy.
How are you?
I'm very, very well, thank you. Very well indeed. It's getting dark outside, though.
Isn't it just? It's the same here. Very dark, very murky. Wish we were in on a beach now, hey?
You and me both. You and me both.
Well,
So, Andy, have we got everyone turned up? Is everyone here?
um, I, I believe so. We've got people just still coming in now, so we're about 30 seconds from the hour, but um, yeah, people still coming in. We've got a full. Well, we've oversubscribed, so I think we've got one or two just coming to the last few places now. Um,
Okay,
but pretty much, give it another 10 seconds, Roy. Then you do your magic.
we'll be good to go. Okay, all right. Just give me the cue, Andy, when you want when I should start.
Okay, well, let's start now, shall we? We can send out the replay to those who've come in late, but it looks like we're pretty much full now anyway. So let's be honourable, everyone on the call. And let's go.
Fantastic. Okay, well, listen, welcome everybody. To everyone out there, I know we've got many of my clients on this webinar, so you guys all know who Roy Ripper is. We've also got lots of people. We set this up for my clients originally, but so many people were asking Andy, look, can we have a piece of this? Can we get on this training? So I know Andy's opened it up to another audience. So there's a group of you out there that know me and maybe less familiar with Andy, and there's a group of you guys that are more familiar with Andy and less familiar with me. So how about if I just do a quick intro of who I am? My name really is Roy Ripper. Everyone asks me, is that a made-up name? Is it a stage name? No, unfortunately, that is my name, or fortunately, I tend to look at it. Um, I have worked in the recruitment industry for 25, I think it's about 26 years now. So worked in the industry for over 26 years as a consultant, as a manager, as an owner, as a director of recruitment businesses. Um, and some of you may know that my first recruitment business that I ever set up, so I worked in recruitment for a while, like a lot of you guys out there, a lot of consultants, I got good at it, started to think about running my own business, and I set up my first recruitment business with James Caan, famously of Dragon's Den, the BBC series. And that business, I'd come from 100% contingency recruitment, and I set that business up with James, and overnight we were 100% retained business, a retained recruitment business. So I know most of you guys understand the distinction between there. Very, very simply, we were paid for the recruitment work that we did in advance, and I loved it. Very successful business. Obviously, James did a little bit better out of that deal than I did, but we parted friends and we still keep in touch now. I then undertook what was a life-changing event for me. I got to work with the legendary, the late, great Tony Byrne. Tony's unfortunately not with us anymore, but Tony is, and in my opinion, the world's greatest recruitment trainer that ever lived. Really inspirational figure. I know some of our older audience members out there, Andy, will probably remember the late great Tony. Hey, recruiters! And with the braces and the slick back hair. Tony was phenomenal, a phenomenal presenter, and a very generous man. I did my recruitment training apprenticeship with Tony, and then I later went to work with a lady called Anne Swain. Anne's now the CEO of APSCO. Um, and again, you know, the generosity of those three mentors that I had in my early part of my career, I've got to say to you, has really, you know, sort of stood me in good stead ever since. The recruitment bit, because that's the bit that everyone's, you know, sort of I know whenever we talk about recruitment trainers, everyone says, well, you know, trainers, are they failed recruiters? I definitely wasn't a failed recruiter. I loved recruiting. I still love recruiting. I just got really good at developing people. And as an example, I set up the executive search division of the Corporate Services Group PLC, £350 million turnover company. I set up their executive search division. I grew it from from 0 to 25 revenue producing consultants and a 2 million profit within 2 years. Now this is a division of a company that CSG never grew organic businesses. They grew through acquisition and merger. So this was a very unique business within their business, and as such we were really highly regarded. I did that for 3 years and I loved it. I loved being frontline. It wasn't a training role. This was the ops director, building, managing, winning client assignments, etc. So right at the coalface, like many of you recruiters out there. But after about 3 years, I think, of that, I came back to permanent full-time training. Most of you will know me for my live training, but there's a whole heap of people worldwide that got to know about me and my training through a company that I founded back in 2007, Recruitment Juice. So we produced DVD programs, online programs for recruiters worldwide, and we sold into 23 countries worldwide. I mean, some really, Mongolia and Malaysia and Indonesia, different places around the world. Very popular, very, you guys might remember it was comedy with learning. That series was really good and still runs today. Now I put products out there, I deliver live programs. To date I've trained, I always struggle with this number, I've trained over 37,500 consultants, managers and owners of recruitment businesses internationally. And I love doing it. This is an industry that, I think somebody was talking the other day, Andy, and said that it's worth 222 billion pounds worldwide. I don't know what the dollar's conversion would be for that, but I just know that's a shed load of money. And I love being part of that industry. So, that's me. So for the guys that don't know who I am, by all means, I have a website, royripper.com. If you're interested, get there and you can find out more detail. The other thing is, link in with me. I love to talk to other recruiters. I love to talk to recruiters that are interested in growing their businesses. If you're interested just in staying still, then don't bother. It's like my training is about growing your businesses and helping recruiters develop their desks. So if you're into that, then definitely I want to hear from you. So look, that's a bit about me. It's kind of a snapshot, if you like. There's a whole heap of other stuff that's in there, but we've only got time for the headlines of today. Andy, is there anything I've left out, do you think?
I'm still in awe, Roy. There's elements there I wasn't aware of myself. So no, I think you've given a good overview. My friends and my clients, a lot from the United States, as I mentioned before, definitely link in with Roy, and definitely get in contact with Roy at royripper.com, isn't it?
Thank you. Thanks, Andy. Very, very generous. Yeah, good. Okay, yeah, that's the best way to contact me. That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So look, Andy, what are we going to cover today? We've got this slide up, the recruitment Parthenon. Do you want to talk us through this?
Yeah, well, it may be a bit better if we start at the back end, as to why you wanted this training put on in the first place, Roy.
Yeah. Listen. Yeah, it's a great point. Listen, let me tell you, for everybody that's out there that doesn't know, I've told you that I've worked in our industry for 26, 27 years now, and I train recruitment businesses. Now, I've been talking to so many businesses over the last 5 years, maybe even 10 years, but over the last 5, I've seen it dramatically increase. And what they've asked me is, look, Roy, how do we differentiate ourselves? We're recruitment business owners. We've got this business. It's in a competitive sector, in a competitive niche. How do we compete with the bigger boys that have got hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of pounds and dollars to throw at, profile and branding and marketing and everything else? And we're just small. How do we do that? The other thing that prompted this was, and I'm not going to lie, I look at recruitment business websites every single day of the week, and I've got to say to you, hand on heart, we're not the best at it. I look at these websites, I look at how we as an industry are marketing ourselves, and it doesn't make me feel comfortable. I look at some of those websites. I set my own one up years and years ago, and I put it out there as a brochure. And I thought I was doing a good thing by getting a brochure up there. Wrong. People were coming onto the site, and everyone talks about footfall and traffic and everything else. It's actually worthless if it doesn't translate into clients talking to you, or clients giving you positions and working with you, or candidates registering with you, and most importantly, placements with both. So I've been hearing this from a lot of my clients recently, and it prompted me. Now, Andy, I'm kind of, I don't know if you're happy for me to do this, but I'd really like to talk about how you and I got together originally. Is that cool?
Yeah, of course, Roy. Fill your boots, as we say up north.
Okay. Well, look, basically what I did was I started looking out there because I had this question both for myself and also for the clients that I was working with. How can recruitment businesses distinguish themselves? How can they stand out in a very, very crowded space? And I started to look around and about, and I'll be honest, there were a few people out there that were talking about marketing. There were a few people out there talking about individual pieces like, how to be good on LinkedIn, or how to be great on Twitter, or how to build a Facebook page, or how to build a website. But I really struggled to find somebody that I thought was credible across the board in digital marketing strategy. Lots of people that could tell me how to do stuff, but individual pieces as opposed to taking like a holistic picture. And what happened was that I started to ask some really trusted advisors that I've got throughout the industry, and there was one name that kept popping up. This one name kept coming up all the time. Andy Whitehead. Roy, have you spoken to Andy Whitehead? I'm going, no. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? I hadn't heard about Andy Whitehead, and he came up on my radar. Now, rather than just reach out to Andy, what I did was I tracked him. I tracked his presence. I tracked what he was doing. Started to read some of the posts, and I thought, hang on a second, this guy's different. He's not talking about, look, let's be great at LinkedIn, or let's build a Twitter page, or these are the things that are wrong with your website. This was a guy who, when I started to uncover the layers, was talking about strategies for recruitment businesses, and recruitment businesses specifically, to dominate their space. I approached Andy, and I said to him, look, I have a following. I have a large client following worldwide. I keep getting asked this question, Andy. Please, this isn't the space that I specialize in. It's never the space that I'm going to specialize in. What I want to do is identify an expert, but more importantly, I want to identify someone who's generous and giving of their time and their expertise, and that can actually break stuff down for my clients. I'll be honest, my clients are recruitment people. They're not marketing people. They don't have unlimited budgets. They also don't have unlimited patience either. So they are looking for practical strategies and techniques that they can implement quickly, that don't cost a lot of money but give them instant results. And I came to Andy with that request. There were some things that happened in my business straight away, and I think I might talk about those later on in Andy's presentation. But I started, just the dialogue with Andy. There was a few things that I was able to change about our own digital online presence, and some strategies that he just gave me in that really generous way of yours, Andy. And I've got to tell you guys, it's made a dramatic difference to my business. I'm now reaching more clients. I thought I was doing well with 23 countries, 37,500 recruiters worldwide that I've trained, but all of a sudden my messages are being taken out to the vast recruitment industry, that 222 billion pound industry worldwide. And for that I'm really grateful to Andy Whitehead. So listen, for my people out there, this guy is the real deal. You have to stay till the end, because I've asked Andy to give you guys something really, really special. He knows, I take my clients very, very seriously, and I always like to over deliver. So anybody that I introduce to my clients, I put the squeeze on them and say, look, you've got to deliver something extraordinary to my people, because they're a discerning audience. and Andy's promised me faithfully, and also I've seen what he's about to deliver to you. So, guys, I would say to you, please hang on in there right to the very end. This is a power-packed, content-packed webinar, but stay to the end because Andy's got, I think, some things up his sleeve that he's going to give to you guys.
Wonderful, thanks, Roy. A little bit blown away, but thank you.
It's all true. It's all true.
Bless you, thank you. Right then, let's get into the training. Effectively, I'll give you, for those of you who don't know me, and Roy, as I said, do stop me, as I tend to get a bit passionate about this topic, as you know, and I tend to maybe become very energetic and sometimes need to be slowing down. But do stop me, Roy, if I go too quickly.
Passion's good, Andy, but I'll keep you on point. Don't worry.
Thank you, Roy. Just very quickly, can you type in the box if you can make sure you can hear us okay? So just received one email saying they've got problems dialing in. Can you just type in the box if you can hear us okay? Yes, no, lots of high fives. Thank you, everyone. Wonderful, wonderful. With that said, then I'm going to zip through this, Roy, and do slow me down. For those of you who know me, you know me, so I'll be very, very quick. But for those of you who know Roy, I'll zip through this and give you just a very brief background in 60 seconds. These are some of the statements that have been said recently. For those of you who don't know me, one of the world's most innovative recruitment business growth specialists, ROI of 10 times, $100,000 in 6 weeks in new business, 24% more decision makers. And we'll come to those specific case studies in a bit. My clients are global, and like Roy's, but not quite as many countries. I've not done Mongolia as yet, but I'll reach out there one day. So you can see we've got investment banking, we've got IT, we've got all sorts of clients. But the key thing I think that distinguishes what we've done and what we do is we get results. I'm very, very keen on metrics, and I'll come to that in a minute. But when we start working with an individual, with a client, the first thing we do is take base metrics on day one, and then we monitor metrics along the way, because I think marketing is a word that's very black and it's not seen as a positive word. Everything we do is really more business growth. It's based on metrics, and I think that's when you engage myself, Roy, you saw that straight away, that you apply this, you'll get this back, and that's how we've managed.
Definitely.
Yeah, and we've managed to sort of grow, in the UK, USA, Australia, and so forth. And I've said there we do not do woo woo. That's the key thing. I've been called into some businesses by recruitment leaders to fix some problems because they've hired a specialist, but they've not actually got results. It's been a lot of money for minimal return. But everything we do is metrics based. And as I say, the key thing is you always should, when you create any form of strategies, you start at the back end, you reverse engineer, and you work backwards. And if anyone comes into your business and says this is what your strategy should be without assessing your business, run a mile. But effectively, we like to focus on getting new business inquiries, candidates directly applying to you, the marketplace to actually sit up, and by this I mean to actually dominate your niche. We're about to see the rise of the go-to person in recruitment, which is the whole presentation. But you becoming a leader in your niche and your brand is going to be absolutely pivotal in the next 12 months. We saw the likes of Kodak, go bankrupt because they didn't apply some of these basic strategies. But if I may, Roy, first of all, I just want to give some definitions.
Andy, can I just stop you there?
Of course.
Just 1 second. A lot of as a recruitment business owner myself, and I know a lot of my clients have felt this. A lot of people come to us, and because we're not marketing specialists, we ask them, okay, what are you going to do? And they kind of talk about it like it's a dark art or a science that we're not able to understand. And we ask them, okay, how many more clients am I going to get, or how many more candidates am I going to get? Where's my return on investment? And the stock answer that I know I used to receive, and a lot of my clients here, is, oh no, you can't measure that. It's not in terms of numbers. It's all about brand awareness and putting your name out there, and it will come back to you, but we can't put a specific figure. We can't guarantee that. What do you say to those types of people?
That's a great question, and that's part of my passion for this topic. and it has been for 17 years now. Case in point, I had a coaching call yesterday with a potential prospect in terms of her business. She was $3 million a couple of years ago. She's gone through a tough time. In the last 5 months, she's made $85,000. We set out a plan in 6 months to identify her progress. She said she'd like to be making $200,000. Now, with a placement fee, you just divide it by a placement fee, so we know what our average fee is going to be. And then we knew she had to make 40 placements in the next 6 months. So now we got a target. She didn't know what a target was in terms of what the client was, what her niche was, and so forth. So we then created a strategy around what is her niche, what can she be the leader in, and then we identify the top clients in that niche. When you know the clients and you know the avatar of that client, it's an average client decision maker 55, the average client decision maker 25 and likes football. From then you create the relevant online strategy. But you look at metrics. For example, I spoke to someone in the education recruitment space about 2 weeks ago. They told me a great pride that they've been sending out a newsletter for 6 months. Only had one unsubscribe. They actually had 200 decision makers in their niche, but the actual metrics on an email campaign is 200 decision makers, 10% might open it, so 20 open it, 1% will click on it. So out of the 200, probably only 20 read it. So their entire strategy is based on not knowing the metrics. And so marketing, it should be metrics driven. And if it's not metrics driven, you should think strongly about where you're investing, because it should be metrics driven. In fact, marketing, to be blunt, we're all geeks and it's all science. It's all, there is a creative element to it, but everything is mathematics based, and it comes down to metrics and decision points. So yeah, good question, but I don't think it's the right answer for the recruitment space. You should be measuring everything, as you know.
Thanks, Andy. Thank you.
No problem. Well, just very quickly for everyone, for those who don't know me, I've been accused recently of perhaps being a bit too aggressive in my definitions of what I think we as an industry should be doing. And what I said is we should be dominating our niche. As a recruitment individual, a recruitment leader, you should be dominating your niche. And I've been told by a few people that's a bit of an aggressive way of looking at things, but the simple fact is there will only be one certain leader in every niche and micro niche. So some definitions just before we lay out the training. Marketing, the action of business of promoting and selling products or services. Niche, an area or position that is exactly suitable for a small group, keep it small group. And domination, power or control over people or things. So I truly believe that you're going to see a shift in the market, and we're starting to see it already, but the next 6-12 months, my big passion is to take a group of savvy, strong, ambitious recruitment businesses into that position of market domination, because you will not have 3 or 4 dominating the market. There'll always be 1 or 2 who are trying to up the game slightly. But that rise of the go-to person is now happening. And historically, recruitment has lagged behind other sales industries by 4 to 5 years, and it's no different now. And what we're about to see, I've seen in other markets, other industries. Now's the time, guys, for you to really, really step up and really dominate your niche, because you're going to see a big shift. But as Roy said, Roy's background is 25 years. I'm not quite there yet, but for 16, 17 years in this. But for me, my entire passion for this came about years ago when I was struggling with a client, and what I was struggling with was bringing a number of different strategies together to take that client to a position of leadership. But he didn't have the budget, he didn't have the foresight, and he actually didn't know the technology of his industry. So he was in an IT niche, but he actually didn't know the direction of the niche, and his consultants didn't. But what he wanted to do was to dominate that niche, and that really gave me a lot of pain, and I struggled. But then I was actually, one of my close friends is really a mentor for me. He took me through a process to identify how you can dominate your niche, and that's what really brought me to this point now, is putting together a set of strategies. And over the last sort of 3, 4, 5 years, we've been doing this, but I've been actually asked by a number of different individuals to make it a bit more, I guess, a bit more public, Roy. Lead generation has changed in recruitment. How many of us have gone through? You don't get your emails open. You don't get your emails open. Clients don't, return calls. Cold calls, not working anymore. And commodity's a word I hear quite often.
Yeah, something, Andy, that the industry's changed so much. Any of the veterans out there, they'll kind of hopefully back me up on this, and maybe you show a hands up or whatever. But back in the day, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, the key thing was, I mean, we had technology, but we certainly didn't have it to this extent. But the key thing was you had to do the activity. I think day one for me, I was given a telephone directory, I was given a telephone, and they just said, right, start at A's, start calling from A's. Hi, got any vacancies? Hi, got any vacancies? Hi, got any vacancies? It got a little bit more sophisticated than that later on, but essentially it was a numbers game, and we just had to kiss a lot of frogs in order to get the prints or the vacancy or whatever. So it really has changed. Technology is brilliant, but Andy, that's the other thing. It is brilliant, but it's also created a lot of noise, and I think a lot of recruitment businesses get overwhelmed by that noise too. So I don't know whether this presentation stuff can answer that particular point.
Absolutely. We're going to go through 5 case studies now, and exactly how to rise above the noise, and go into almost instant positioning. When I say instant, I mean 4 to 8 weeks. But
fantastic.
We're going to go through these case studies now, but I think we are seeing a big shift in the market, Roy. And one of the things that I'm passionate about, as you know, is you need to become an authority in your niche.
Yeah.
And I think everybody on the call, in fact, just type in the box. Do you actually become an authority in your niche? Just type in the box. Is that a key driver for you in the next 12 months? Yes or no?
And Andy, just for everyone's benefit, is it just clarify the authority? It's the go-to person, right? It's the person that when a candidate's thinking about leaving a company or their next move, there's 1 or 2 people that they regard as authorities. Or if clients have got a question about a brand new department or perhaps a hiring campaign, you're the authority, you're the person. Is that what you mean by that statement?
Absolutely, yeah. You attract the right candidates, you attract the right clients. But when you enjoy that status as number 1 in your field, you start to get valued and you're treated with respect. That the entire game shifts. We've seen this in case in point with with clients. We've seen firsthand how consultants feel when they've actually got inbound calls coming into them, or when they're speaking to a potential client and they're known and they're respected as opposed to just another recruiter. How many times do you speak to an internal recruiter and they know that on the fourth Tuesday of every month they're going to get a call from ABC Limited? That's how they feel. And it's but when you've got that leadership position, it changes the game. It's just becomes a more enjoyable role. And so that the inbound element, Roy, is key. It's the actual fact that you come in the morning and you've actually got emails contacting you requesting information. Completely turns it on its head. And it sounds almost like a magic bullet, but this is what works. This is the way it's moving.
No, Andy, listen, I completely agree with you. I think there's a whole, it feels so much more different. If I think back to those good old bad old days when I just would have made 100 calls in a day, no one really wanted to talk to me. If I stumbled on a vacancy, it was by accident and pure fluke. But and of course, because I was calling them, the power, if you like, was with the people that I ended up calling, so they could dominate me in terms of squeezing on rates, etc. What I find is, when clients call you and they're giving you positions, or candidates are calling you to register themselves and find out what's active in the market, it's just a completely different ball game. They see you as the authority, they take your advice, they're less likely to quibble on fees, and candidates as well, less likely to try and push salary negotiations. They trust you. You're the authority. They trust you to look after that for them. So, yeah, I totally concur with that. It's a much, much better position to be in when they're calling.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just, amount of times I speak to, when we generally get approached, it's from owners, directors who, to be blunt, Roy, are demoralised, as you know, and they know. The thing I get told time and time again is, I know I need to change, but I don't know what to do. But when you pull away the layers, they don't even know where they are in the process. So they're really in the fog. Don't know which way they're directing, which way they should be looking. Don't even know the ground they're on. And but fortunately, there are ways you can leverage, and I mean very, very quickly. You can become that leadership position very, very quickly, which we'll get into. And I really believe, Roy, like yourself, we're now seeing a change in the way recruitment happens. And I've worked, like yourself, I've worked with some of the very, very big companies. And I've worked with multi-billion-pound companies this summer. And what I've seen internally makes me feel excited for the smaller businesses, because they aren't going to change quickly. They can't implement what I'm about to show you, but you guys can. When I first created some of the strategies. This is going back now, and they were quite basic, but we've tweaked and we've tweaked and we've tweaked, and we've perfected the process. And the reason why I've had to get to this position, Roy, one of the things that has peeved me, and we are where we are, is because we genuinely walk the walk. We've gone through a lot of pain. We still make mistakes, and we'll keep making mistakes, but we've done this now so many times. And when I got called into a client, it was about 2 years ago, and this is when I really had to up my game and start to become a louder presence. Was the director we were working with? He was in a bad way. He was in a really bad way, Roy. He'd been fed, to be blunt, a lot of BS about how to market his business. Consultants who I rarely see as demoralised as I did. But the bottom line is he'd been sucked into all the BS in the market. If you send out emails to your list like this, and you create an ebook like this, and then you'll get leads, and it just doesn't happen. And I think we see that so much time and time again. And this guy was lost.
We got sold, don't we? I mean, and I've seen them out there. There's the magic pill and the silver bullet, and it's like, look, buy this software, you never have to worry about it again. And of course, we're desperate for a solution. We end up buying these things, and they don't lead us anywhere. Andy, a couple of people have asked me, my clients have said to me, that model that Andy just showed us there, the mind map, the text there was really small. Will you be going into that at some point?
Yeah, we'll go into that right now.
Good man.
We'll go into that right now. So that for me, that day, with that client really, kicked me into place. These guys here, I need to grow my business at the time. These are two of my mentors. A guy called Rick Sheffer, I paid $10,000 for to be coached by him, and Jay Abraham, famous marketer over in the States. He's made $8 billion worth of profits of businesses. I paid him $25,000 of training materials. And in the last 3 months, we've had over 400 new clients into our business. And as Forbes magazine, this is a key thing, guys, on the call. It's not about you, your company, your products or your services. It's about meeting customer needs and adding value. When you start paying more attention to your customer needs than your revenue needs, you'll find you no longer need to have a revenue problem. And that's what you're going to find. Like the client, John, in 2012, he spent years cold calling, years. CVs were going out, and this is what I think we all go through. And there's an art and a science to what we're going through now. The science is closing the sale, and that's where, Roy, that's where your so I call it, what you guys do, closing the deal, the voodoo magic, the recruiter magic. But the art is now building the lead generation funnel. So clients are warm and ready when when they want to be closed, when they're ready to be closed. But nowadays you need both. Going back, you didn't need that. John was a master of the science, the closing. But when we worked together, after a 30-minute conversation, Roy, just a 30-minute conversation, he instantly started working on the bit he'd been missing. Right. And what he actually had in his business, and this is a case study we're going to go through, he had 30 new incoming leads a day in his business from candidates and clients. And that's pretty powerful when you've gone from a place of desperation until you've got actual leads in your inbox for your consultants to follow up each morning. Very powerful.
Well, you could be making hundreds of calls a day. You're not going to get 30 new incoming leads
exactly
from the 100 calls activity. Right,
exactly.
I get it.
And this is cool. the big passion of mine. So, in terms of the pillars I'm going to go through now, if you apply the 5 I'm going to show you now, and at the 6th, which is a byproduct of the 5, I guarantee you'll get new clients and you'll get new candidates. I absolutely guarantee it. We guarantee our work, and I guarantee you'll get this. After the training I'm going to share with you, the art, and we've got an optimal recruitment niche domination frame, which we're going to go through now. But this is what sort of results we've got: 1,246 new candidates and 23 new client inquiries. So you don't need the cold calling. Times have changed, and the second-rate social media, as I said here, strategies you see for recruiting business, they're not going to survive much longer. They're not going to survive. Nowadays, you need to build many strategies, but there's very simple ways to do it. And we don't have time to go through all of these in detail, but the R&D, as I call it, recruitment niche domination methods, I'm going to show you. I'm going to give you 5 of the best strategies now that you can apply in your business straight away. So Parthenon. For those of you who don't know Parthenon, going back yonder years and years and years, imagine you've got the films and the Romans, etc. But there you've got, each pillar is a pillar in your business. And what most businesses do, rely on one stream to get new candidates, new clients. They may have cold calling, they may have a blog, but there's nothing which is guaranteeing them an incoming leads each and every month. So if you don't have those different pillars in place, your business is pretty much at the potential of market forces. So what we want in your business is multiple pillars. So these are the pillars we're going to go through now. Pillar number 1, how to get massive instant brand growth and dominate your niche. Pillar number 2, instant lead generation, how to get past gatekeepers. Pillar number 3, grow candidate databases and grow new project referrals, very powerful. Pillar number 4, how to fast track instant recruitment niche domination. So if you're a new business or if you need to grow and get that instant space recognition, strategy on that. And also how to create multiple streams of income from your business, from your candidate database and so forth. But number 6, when you bring all this together, it's something I get asked a lot, how are we going to attract the best recruiters? Well, if you're the most dominant name in the market, you've got that position in the market, it's going to be easier to attract the right recruiters. So that's a byproduct of bringing 5 of these together. So I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to move straight into pillar number 1, Roy, but do stop me if I'm moving too quickly. So
sure, Andy, it's brilliant. Thank you. Keep going.
Okay, pillar number 1, so massive instant brand growth. And please take a pen and paper and write down 2 things. As you go through this, ask yourself who in my business can implement this, who, and write down how. So how is it going to be implemented. So come away with a set of points you can implement in your business. So number 1, this is what we found. We went into this client. There's all outbound calling. They could not get through to decision makers. They were one of many SAP recruitment companies, SAP being an IT technology, very congested marketplace. Candidates did not engage with consultants. Calls were not returned. Emails were not open. I'm sure you can relate to all of this, everybody. Emails not replied to, and so forth. Finding candidates is difficult, but the key thing is getting engaged was even more difficult. So what did we do? Well, we looked at the marketplace, and we didn't have a budget to fly through. So we looked at the marketplace, and I looked at what we could do. And I came up with a strategy of leveraging other people's reach. So we wanted to leverage other people in the industry who already had instant position, who were seen as leaders. So we looked at the SAP market and we identified the A-list personalities. So we identified those with their own databases and lists. So I'll give you an example of this. It's something you can do straight away. We go to Amazon, look in your niche, and you find 50 of the top selling authors in your niche. You go online and you find the 50 top blogs on your niche with the highest traffic. Then you go and find the 50 websites of all types of websites from your niche with the highest traffic. Then you come up with a list. Then what you're going to have on that list is around 250 of the most powerful and the most influential people in your niche. Now, if you can get these or a subset of these to endorse your brand, you can go from a place of complete and utter, you could be a new company. But if you can get them to endorse your brand, you can go from a standing start to huge leverage influence very quickly. So if you can imagine you've got 10 of the top speakers in the world, for example, and they're then endorsing your brand across a 10-week period. That's very powerful. It's powerful for a number of reasons. Number 1, you've got the actual leader endorsing you. But then number 2, that leader will have his own database. He'll have his own list. If he's an author, he'll have buyers of his books. And who are these buyers? They're the very same candidates and the very same clients you're trying to influence. So when they endorse you, and the second person endorses you, and the third person endorses you, your candidates, your clients are going to hear your brand, hear your name over and over and over again. And when you create a strategy around this and a rollout plan, what happens is you go from a standing start and you go for what we call a product launch. And then very quickly, you'll become a very big marketplace name without spending any money on branding, without spending any money on advertising, without getting no fancy logos, without fancy Facebook pages, without etc. etc. You're leveraging other
Andy,
people.
Andy, can I ask another question, Andy? I'm just interested because this is, brilliant stuff. But what's in it for those guys? The A-list personalities, those the authors and the blogs. Why would they help me with my small recruitment business? Why would they promote me?
That's a great question. At a base level, these authors, for example, authors are a certain personality type, and they've spent a lot of time creating a textual narrative on their thoughts on the market. So whatever industry you're in, whatever the topic is going to be, they put a lot of effort into this. Now, if you went to one of these authors and said, I've got a candidate database of 5,000 in your area or 10,000 in your area, I've got a LinkedIn network of 30,000, whatever it might be, plus we're going to create an event which we'll come to now. At this event, we're going to have the other 10 of the other top speakers in the world in this niche. Do you want to be one of these speakers? They are going to absolutely bite your head off because, number one, if they think that they're going to miss out on an opportunity where their competitors will be speaking, they wouldn't miss it. But number two, when you create the event, which we'll come to now, you create an event and you give them a subtle opportunity to plug their book. So they can't. If you can imagine, you've got 10 leaders in their niche, and each one has got a database or Twitter follower, and say of 10,000. Times that by 10. If you're looking at 50 to 100,000 reach, these authors would absolutely, themselves, they should be applying this strategy in their own business. So they would love the fact to be given that stage to actually talk about their book, whatever they've created.
So you're giving them access to an audience that are going to potentially buy their products. Of course, they're going to want to support you in doing that. Okay, I get it.
Absolutely. But what happens is straight away your brand suddenly. So say for example, let's keep this very, very simple. Let's say for example you're in the motor industry, and suddenly you're a fairly new brand. But then you do a webinar, for example, and you've got Mercedes, Audi, McLaren, etc. 10 speakers from each of those, and it's your event. You get that alignment with these people. You get that alignment with these businesses, with these companies. So you get the same thought patterns as when someone thinks about Mercedes, they start thinking about your brand in the same way. But when this message happens over and over again across a long period, which is what we do, you start to get that alignment, and it's very, very, very powerful. And so we added over 1,000 candidate registrations in 8 weeks. So very, very powerful. So what I recommend you do, everyone on the call, is you can do all manner of different things. But one example is you create an event. So whichever niche you're in, you create an event. I recommend you do an online event. The reason why, larger reach, lower costs, and it's a lot easier to plan than a live event. Then what you do is you've got the speakers lined up. You've identified the speakers you want, and then you create an entire website around this, which is very simple, but it becomes your brand is aligned with these other brands. So ABC Recruiting in association with ABC Celebrity, so in association with Mercedes, in association with Audi, etc.
Very good.
So what happens is these A-list personalities or these brands, they're going to start to email their own databases and say, hey, we're speaking at this event. I think you should attend. So very, very quickly, you start to get other clients, you start to get other candidates come to your page, and they opt in with their details, and you can ask them all sort of details. In a minute, I'll give you some ideas on how to get referrals and so forth. But what happens is you'll start to get literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of website hits from your exact desired market. Then what you do is you create on the page. I recommend that recruitment's a faceless business. 99% of websites I look at are exactly the same. I recommend that someone in your business becomes the face of the business. People do business with people, and then on there you have a video. And so when you're doing this lead generation process, you have someone who becomes the face of your campaign. Then what happens is you distribute press releases, and we've got ways whereby you can distribute one press release to 2,000 news websites. We can show you how to get on CNN, how to get on HBO in America, and so forth. So you very quickly you become basically dominate the space very, very quickly. And then if you want to take it a step further, you can publicize it in trade magazines and so forth. But what starts to happen?
So Andy, I don't. Sorry to interrupt you.
Okay.
So I don't need to use. There are some PR companies out there that specialize in recruitment agencies. There are PR companies that don't specialize, but they'll charge me and my clients a monthly retainer, and they'll say, look, they don't actually guarantee anything. We'll work really hard to get you into the mainstream press and the industry papers, but we can't guarantee anything. You're saying that you've got something that will take care of that. I don't have to pay separately to the PR company to publicise the event.
There are ways out there, Roy. You don't need us. There are so many great. If you spent 15 minutes on Google, we've been doing this for years now. But anyone on the call, if you Google, how to do these things, there are ways to do it. But the key thing is you need to do these things in the right sequence. Because if you don't, then you're going to. If you approach the A-list personality at the wrong time or do a press release at the wrong time, you're going to miss the leverage.
Okay.
But there's nowadays, Roy, there's so many tools out there which just blow you away with what you can do in terms of
cool. Thank you.
Getting that leverage. But the key thing is you're automating the lead generation. So very quickly you go from a standing start to you dominating your niche, but then you use other people's positioning and their databases to bring leads into you. Then what you do is when the leads come to your website, and we'll come to this in a minute, you then elicit information around, if you're looking for candidates, you elicit candidate information. So you might ask them 10 questions on the referral. So if you did a live event, an online event, for example, you might say for a ticket at the event with these 10 top speakers, for the ticket, then please fill out these details. And it could be 10 questions on which speakers you want to see speak first, what information do you want to hear, but then subliminally you're going to drop in questions around the candidate's position in his own life cycle, what his drivers to move are, who his dream company is. But then you also take it a step further and you ask questions around what new projects is he on, and you start to elicit new project information, which I'll come to in a minute. So there's all manner of things you can do, but you're not spending money on advertising, you're not cold calling, you've literally going to have tens, hundreds of these leads in your business. Very, very powerful. So in terms of the outcomes from this process, this is what we did, and this is what you can do. You assess the market for whether you do a digital online strategy or you do an offline strategy. Largely most of what we do recommends online, but there are offline strategies you should also apply at times, which you come to as well in a minute. But the reason I say this is the following. If in your market you've got, say, just 100 decision makers and you decide to do an email campaign, these are stats that you can expect. 100 emails sent, 20 opened, and then of those 2 are actually clicked on. So your email campaign suddenly becomes very, very poor ROI. And in fact, I wouldn't recommend doing just an email campaign or even an online campaign with just 100 decision makers. You do something offline. So you need to look at your market. Remember I said you always reverse engineer? And that's why if someone comes into your business and says you do this without understanding your business or understanding what your target is, run a mile. You need to know what your target is. So in this instance, we created an online summit where 1,246 new candidates registered for the event in 8 weeks. We had incoming candidate leads every single day. We had 12 of the world's top speakers and authors endorsing the brand of our client, and this is amazing. SAP themselves came onto the webinar, and the VP of Marketing SAP came onto the webinar and endorsed our brand, which you couldn't buy that as a SAP recruiter. You couldn't buy SAP saying this company are fabulous. They're doing things in the space, innovative. You need to listen to this company. You couldn't buy that sort of branding, exposure, endorsement, and so forth. And this is where it gets really special. The director was asked to speak at SAP Sapphire. SAP Sapphire is a very large European conference on SAP. So he was asked to speak to the very decision makers, project managers, program managers, business owners, etc., asked to speak in front of them at SAP Sapphire about one of the SAP modules. At the time, SAP HANA was released, which is a module in SAP. It's not key to the event, but he was asked to speak on SAP HANA because the communication we recommended he distributed was so real. He was seen as an expert in SAP, and he was asked to speak to the very decision makers. You couldn't buy that sort of exposure, no matter how much money you spent. You wouldn't, as a recruiter, you couldn't buy that. So very, very powerful. But the key thing is here, everybody, what you need to do is identify a gap in your market. So you identify a gap in your market, and you leverage the brand of other brands. You leverage other people's positioning. You don't spend hours and years trying to build your own brand when you can do it in a heartbeat. And I mean literally 8 weeks that process took. We recommend you put a 6-month plan in place, but in 6 months you can absolutely do huge things in your niche. And in this case, we went from no inbound marketing with no lead generation, being one of many SAP recruiters, to being invited to speak at one of the world's largest SAP conferences. So that change is huge, and it's just leveraging what's out there and just thinking outside the box. So I recommend, just if you're writing down notes now, just think about your industry. Who are the key people? But below this, obviously, there's a whole set of steps we go through, which is another big mind map and whatever else. But in terms of give you the holistic view, that's one way you can dominate a niche very quickly. Now, second one, how to get instant lead generation past gatekeepers. So in this niche, very cramped competitive niche. It's a business in the city of London. So for my friends in the United States, that's the equivalent of Wall Street. And they couldn't get through to decision makers. There's an old school mentality of decision makers in the city, very fast paced environment. It's difficult to get candidates, decision makers to slow down and engage. calls were not returned, emails were not returned, and there wasn't that engagement with senior candidates. So again, quickest route from A to B is from A to B. It isn't setting up lots of lovely blogs and lots of Facebook pages. If you've got a very clear market, a very clear outcome, very clear goal, you know who your target is, then what you do is you go from A to B as quickly as possible. You do not need to have 30 peripheral things around it and make it look pretty. It helps if you've got a massive marketing department, but if you want to get results, you go from A to B. Simple as that. So what we did was, again, we looked at how we can leverage other personalities. It's what we recommend you did for this client. Rather than, because it's a small niche, rather than do an online strategy, that they create a book. So they create a book on their niche. And the book can be written either by yourselves. You can outsource the book to a ghostwriter for $500 to $5,000, but you can get PhD writers out there now to write you a PhD equivalent paper for $10 for 1,000 words. There's so much possibility out there now. But you print 1,500 copies of the book off, so you've got the decision maker, you've got the gatekeepers, and the senior candidates covered in your niche. You make it an Amazon book. So we always target you go for bestseller status. Now, why is this important? With this book, if you take this approach, so again, you've got your A-list personalities. This is where you keep reusing content. If you go to your A-list personalities and you say, we're creating this online event, or we're creating this book, and we've got 10 of the other top speakers in the world, do you want to submit a chapter? What you'll find is you'll get yes, you get a lot of no's, but then you'll start to get yeses. And when one comes, they all come. So you have a book written by 10 of the world's top speakers in your niche. Now what happens though? When people Google that speaker, when people Google that name, what's going to come up? You're going to come up next to their name. So very quickly, you're going to leverage SEO, you're going to leverage books, you're going to leverage Amazon. So again, you've got that alignment of instant leaders. You haven't spent thousands on SEO. You haven't spent thousands on fancy strategies, which may be outdated with the next Google slap, like Penguin and so forth. You're leveraging other people's time, other people's experience, but also you're giving them exposure. So it's a win-win. So there are so much quicker ways, and it pains me when I hear people spending thousands on SEO and they've lost all their position. There are such quicker ways, and this is instant lead generation, instant, very, very powerful. So this is what we recommend you do. So the book's going to be with A-list individuals. The book's going to get discussed on that A-list individual's website. So if it's a leader in your niche, that person will be speaking about it on their blog. So you'll be spoken about on that blog. You'll be discussed in forums. You can give a 7-day free download so you can bring in new candidates. You can distribute this on LinkedIn, on your Facebook page, etc. But very quickly it becomes viral. So you start to attract candidates. Again, you can do a press release, but then you can start to use the content over a long period of time. So I always recommend you automate your business as much as possible and you keep it simple. But when people come to your website, candidates, clients, they opt in, you give them a free chapter every month. So each month you give away a free chapter. And again, you automate the process of candidate engagement because most recruiters, job. What you should be doing is 50% content, 25% engagement, and 25% selling. That way you will get bigger results with candidates. But you can automate this process and give away a chapter a month of candidate engagement. So these are the outcomes you can expect to get. Again, the first thing you do is you assess what strategy you're going to use. In this case, the decision maker was the group was less than 200. The senior candidates were less than a few hundred again. So you create an offline strategy in this instance. Can you imagine this? You're a busy man in the city. You're running a big program, but then instead of getting cold calls and getting absolutely hounded on LinkedIn, you have a hand-delivered book delivered to your desk with 10 of the world's top speakers in it. And then there's a foreword by yourself as director of your business. And then there's a personal written note by you asking, do you want to go for lunch to discuss any of these speakers? Or could I introduce you to any of these speakers? How much more powerful is that than cold calling? Now, all of this, you can get these books created for $10, $15 self-publishing nowadays. So these things aren't painful. We say if you've got 7 hours a week to apply to this, you can implement these strategies yourself.
Brilliant.
So you get that instant positioning. You're leveraging other people's positioning. And you'll find cold calling becomes a thing of the past. So what this does, and I get this time and time again, we speak to directors, to owners, and they keep saying, I need to demonstrate market intelligence, but I don't know that much about the market, and I haven't got the time to learn it. I haven't got time to create anything. So you leverage other people who've got that market intelligence. You bring them together. Now, if you've got an admin person in your office, if you've got an admin person in your office, you could give her these tasks. We can lay out the tasks for you. This is what you do. This in what order, and then very quickly you can create these things yourself, and you'll walk all over the position of your competitors. So in this case, we developed a process. We need to understand our client needs here, who's in a very micro niche competitive market, and we need to instantly influence these 200 decision makers without a long, drawn out online affair. So to have that book hand delivered with a personal note, so powerful. In this case, not one cold call will be made, not one. Not one, if I put a peeved consultant. You've got that instant positioning, you've got class. There's something very classy with this. So again, you need to think about the medium of your prospect. Is your prospect 55 and wouldn't even know what a webinar is, or is your prospect 21, hungry? So you apply the strategy to your prospect. So just conscious of time, so I'm going to be respectful, moving straight to pillar number 3. So how to grow your candidate database and attain referrals, new project. So this is something we're working on now. So this client already very successful, but they have virtually no inbound business inquiries. They have virtually no inbound candidate applications. Very fast-paced environment, no time for quote marketing. They recognise the market is changing. Top consultants, this problem, they leave to either set up alone or they get poached by competitors. So how can we remove some of these challenges? And the key remit is to get new business inquiries and new candidate applications, but also to remove that pain of when your top consultants leave. How can you protect yourself? So this is what we've done. We create a money magnet to draw candidates in. So a money magnet is something that positions you. It positions you as brand, as market leaders. So there's all manner of different things it could be. It could be anything from a webinar to a DVD box set, which sounds complex, but it's not. It could be a podcast, but we'll come into a bit of detail in a minute. But the key thing is you create the money magnet and then you distribute it via your online channels. But then you create an opt-in process. So what happens is when you create a money magnet, so for example, that event where you've got 10 of the top speakers, when you bring the new candidates to your website, they go into an automated sequence. So rather than a new candidate coming to your system and then they're hounded for 7 days, and then maybe they're hounded once every 3 months when the relevant job comes up and the spec matches the keywords, you actually put them into an automated process. So you engage with them maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times a week. Depends on your market. But you're not hounding them with jobs. You're not hounding them with just boring white papers. You're giving them really solid information. So that event we discussed before, that event, what you could do, if you've got 10 speakers, you could have 10 videos. You could take that event and cut it into 10 videos and give that away as part of your candidate engagement. But then what you do is you then exchange the engagement for survey results. So to download this video of this key leader, fill out this survey. And again, the survey, you subliminally leave in the survey questions around what your need is. Do you need more candidates? Do you need to know about new projects? Do you need to know about new clients? But you fill out what you need in the survey and you incentivize it. And you incentivize them to refer colleagues. Then what happens is you'll come in the morning because it's automated. You set it up now. So you set up on December the 5th. That will run every day now for the rest of your business life for the next year, 2 years, 10 years, as long as you like. So it just keeps running and running and running and running. So you've got that funnel, just happens every day now. It's done once. You set it up once and it keeps running. So you keep getting more survey results, you keep getting more referrals. And it happens on autopilot. So it becomes very, very powerful. So what you need to do here is you need to get some really good content, but content that epitomizes your brand. So you need to think about what's the personality of your brand. So how do you want your brand to be perceived? So some recruiters like to be, I'll be blunt, very dry, and believe a white paper is, it could be the way to go depending on the market. Others like to be a little bit more funky, like you, Roy, with Juice, the comedy value and the engaging value, but you suit it to your brand. But this is where you get the gold dust, though, everyone on the call. You engage with them, you get survey results, you elicit candidate requirements. Because when you get this, when you start to get candidates tell you what they want for their next role, or who they want to work with, or who their senior is, or who's left, or what their new project's about, and you do this via surveys, and we've done this, you start to get this data that is absolute gold dust, and it's real time. You come in the morning, it's from the previous night. So your consultants have got instant data to grab hold of, and when they contact them, they're not contacting about a job, they're contacting about the survey results. So they're expecting the call. So in this case, this is what the outcomes on the candidate database. To grow a database by 50% in 180 days. Candidate engagement will move from 0 to the brand being seen as market leaders by both candidates and clients alike. Hot daily leads for consultants. Automated processes set up so that candidates submit details of their requirements. And automated survey processes. And again, something I'm really, really keen about is going from A to B as quickly as possible. So what I used to do is go out and create a 16-page proposal. Nowadays, we just create a one-page implementation plan. These are the steps you follow. And then you break down the plan into weekly chunks. There's no fluff, there's no BS. In recruitment, we haven't got the time for this. We need to sell, we need to close. We haven't got time for big convoluted strategies. You just need to know what works in simple steps. And what this does is give consultants leads. It gives consultants leads. It's very, very powerful. So very quickly, I'm going to move into this, Roy, conscious of time. So new company, new niche, standing start, you want to dominate quickly. So how would you do this? So you're a new company with no marketing, you've got no business development in place, you're getting no results and you're getting fed up. You've been sending emails to decision makers, to 200 of them. The figures don't work. You've tried holding an offline seminar to try and do something a bit different. It failed. And to be honest, you're on a one-way mission to failure, potentially out of business. And you create a strategy and implementation steps to turn the business around. Now these steps, why am I telling you these steps? Because it's something that's happening or happened recently. I've been approached by a business and this is exactly what was happening. They didn't know what they didn't know. They didn't even know where they were in the cycle. Problem is, they are sitting on a huge opportunity. If they could just see further than making the next call, getting through the next day, getting through the next week. So again, what do we do? New company, new niche, standing start. They want to dominate a niche quickly. They don't have a budget. So again, I use a leverage model. My favorite word, leverage. So we looked at their industry. Who's got the most leverage in their niche? Who's got the most influence? We found out it's MPs. So in the UK, it's members of parliament. So it's members of parliament. So we looked at how can we get a member of parliament online on board now. Just approaching them, it's not going to happen. He wouldn't endorse us publicly. So then we need to look at the bigger picture. So what is the channel medium that the target will respond to? So in this niche is education. It wouldn't be the online so much just online. We need a way to mix online with offline. And again, what's the implementation model? What's the fastest route from A to B? So we needed a way to get an MP on board very, very quickly. So to do that, we created, again, an online strategy and also an offline strategy to give us that positioning. But when you approach the MP, you've already got that positioning buy-in from a number of decision makers. So what we've done is we've set the bases in place. We've already got people talking about us in the niche. Then we've gone to the MP to actually get the MP and ask his advice. And to be blunt, a lot of this is about stroking the right ego at the right time. But then what we've done is bring the MP on board bit by bit. And then it becomes part of the marketing piece. But when an MP will start talking about your newsworthy topic, but you are the topic, it becomes a big story in your niche. We had something similar in the rail industry about 12 months ago. We were approached by a client. They're in the rail industry, and they spotted that there was a big opportunity because there wasn't enough resource in the rail industry. So it's a big newsworthy piece. Now, if you can position yourself as a knight in shining armor that's going to focus on filling this void in the market, you can get on the news. You can get endorsement by MPs. It isn't difficult. It's thinking outside the box. It's just thinking a little bit smarter. So in this case, again, we laid out the steps and we reverse engineered the steps. We didn't just say, right, we're going to go to an MP. You reverse engineer the steps. But when you've got an MP actually endorsing yourselves, it's newsworthy, it's in the papers. Again, we've got ways of distributing press releases, 2,000 websites at a time. You get instant ranking on Google, instant positioning. And what happens? You get inbound leads. You're not the one making the cold calls. You've got inbound leads. You're positioned. People want to know who you are. So in this case, something I find from a lot of recruitment businesses, they don't know what they don't know, and they don't know the opportunity they got, or indeed what mistakes they're making. So I took control of the direction of this client, and you always start at the outcome and you reverse engineer the steps. And so again, everything we do is metric based, but the key point you should take from pillar 4 is if you want to move and dominate your niche very, very quickly, look at the person with the most leverage. Think about the strategy you should take, and then of course this delves down to another 10 strategies. So online, is it going to be LinkedIn? Is it going to be Facebook? Is it going to be email? Is it going to be all of those? How are you going to create different strategies? What should your LinkedIn strategy be? What should your email strategy be? So different layers you keep pulling away, but at a high level, this is holistic we're talking about now, but at a high level, just think about how you can get the quickest route from A to B. Quickest route from A to B, always. Do not overcomplicate these things, but also don't think that just picking up the phone, doing things the ways you've done it is the best way because it's working okay. You could maybe double your business. You don't know if you apply these strategies. So number 5, the final one. Something I've been asked time and time again. I've got this candidate database. They're not engaging with me. They're not speaking with me. They don't answer my emails. And it goes on. But also, I know Roy's an advocate of this. If you own a recruitment business and you're looking to sell your business, have an exit strategy in a number of years, if you've got additional income streams in your business, so not just through fees, but additional income streams that help grow your business, grow your positioning, that could potentially add millions to your business. So if we look at some figures here, if you had something you could sell, and I don't mean something that's not relevant to your market, I think it means something that's directly relevant to your candidates. Your candidates are going to buy training at some point. So say you've got a training that you can endorse or as a training you have yourself. But say you've got a $47 commission or $97 commission for that, or it's your own product, and you've got a 2% conversion rate on $97 at 10,000, which is a low conversion rate. That's an extra $90,400 a month. That's a lot of money when it adds up over the course of a year. Now, if you take it at 5% conversion, not 2%, that's $97,000 a month. Now, it sounds like, well, that's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Potentially, you think that because it's never happened in your business. This happens every day in businesses around the world, every single day. But recruitment is behind the times, and we think, I'll sell trash to my candidate database. I've told us before. I'm not saying you sell trash to your candidate database. Your candidates are going to need, if you're in the IT niche, your candidates will buy new IT training at some point. They're going to spend £2,000 on the latest Java development training. Now, if you could get them a discount from a leader in the market and then promote that, if he's an ethical leader, you've got them a discount. The seller's actually got more sales, and you're bringing an extra $97,000 a month. So there are ways you can monetize your database. But when you monetize it, you also need to be offering the value. So let's look at an example here. Would you agree, and just type in the box, that your candidates on LinkedIn are on LinkedIn or should be on LinkedIn? Just type yes in the box. They're all. And your candidates' profiles are poor at best, aren't they? The profiles do,
yes.
Yes, and often the profiles do not match the content of their CV. And this is what Microsoft told us. If they did a survey a couple of years ago, we, the recruiter, view the CV, the LinkedIn profile. The line manager reviews the profile, and the senior internal manager reviews the profile on LinkedIn. So it's really important that we have a great LinkedIn profile for our candidates. So if you had a LinkedIn training, you could then promote to or give away to your candidates, or sell to your candidates. That's relevant to your candidates. It's making your candidates' profile an improvement. It's going to be easier for you to place them. So if you had that sort of training for them, it's actually going to make your job easier to place them. It's going to make them better position on LinkedIn. So there are things you can do which isn't trashy. It is ethical, and it's helping your candidate. It's helping you, and it's going to actually bring an income. So you can do these things. Now, we've done something similar in the past. It's sold out across Time Out in America. And it consisted of 2 45-minute webinars, 2 45-minute audio MP3s, a workbook, full resale rights. You can actually sell the training yourself. You can rebrand it, and you can brand it as your own recruitment business, and you sell it to your candidates. So you've got an income stream. So there's all manner of things you can do. And like LinkedIn have actually told us that when you engage in this way, with your candidates, you will double your response on your emails and on your LinkedIn messages. And that's from 2.6 million messages. So when you start to engage in this way, your consultant's job becomes easier, but you're actually creating an income as well. So it's a win-win-win. So just need to think outside the box of it and just think about, from the candidate's perspective, what is going to be of use to your candidates. Absolutely key. So,
Andy, this is, can I just interrupt you? This is pure gold, and I'll tell you for why. I'm getting more and more business owners saying to me, Roy, how do we we keep hearing this word engagement. How do we engage with candidates? It's like, we phone them when we have a job, or we email when we have a job. If they're interested and they're active at that point, then we get them down to the client and hopefully place them. But they're not speaking to candidates, or they don't actually have anything to talk to candidates about unless there's an active job in. Any good recruiter doesn't call their candidate and say, "Oh, hi, how's the weather going?" So this is brilliant, because if recruiters can add any value to candidates over and above the value of placing them, it gives us something else to talk to candidates about. I see people doing newsletters and tweets and all this kind of stuff, and I'm asking them, are your candidates really, are they opening them? Are they engaging with you? Are they responding to it? And the answer is very firmly no. But we feel, a lot of these businesses are feeling, well, I'm ticking the box, and they're really not. So I love that piece, I really do. And look, I know I've got lots of clients in on this webinar. I think we want to pay attention to that particular one.
Yeah, it's absolutely key. And just make sure engagement for your consultants is easier. If you can imagine your consultants, rather than sending them an email or a message and, do you want this job? Say, I've just reviewed your LinkedIn profile and I can see how we can improve it. I'd like to give you this training that retails for $200 for free. They'd be blown away. It's just, you're doing what? You're actually giving value. Then maybe don't even mention jobs on that call, but next time you contact them, did that across your entire database, suddenly the barriers they have towards you come down. And if you do this consistently, once every month, once every 2 months, completely different proposition. You are set apart from your competition. You really are.
Andy, I'm going to play devil's advocate just for a moment, because I know there are recruiters out there listening to this webinar that are going to go, well, hang on a second, if I increase my candidates, LinkedIn profile and they're able to update their profiles, make them look more attractive, then surely my competitors are going to be able to place them, or some of those line managers that are using LinkedIn to try and shortcut us and short circuit us, those candidates are going to be found more readily by other people. Are we not creating competition? How would you respond to that?
Yeah, great question, Roy. If you show them how to be ranked, so they will be found by more other recruiters, other line managers, and so forth, then there is of course the risk of that. But in the training itself, we don't do that. You tell them how to do the base elements of their profile. So, for example, one of the case studies we had was a lady being out of work rather for a year with a child. Then within 4 weeks of applying our strategy, she worked with her recruiter, and he managed to get her an interview for $104,000 placement. The reason why that's important, the most she'd earned before was $60,000, but she'd been out of work for a year with the child, and that's one of the case studies we refer to on the training. So it's really you, the recruiter, giving them the training and say, hey, I'm helping you with this.
Right.
But the training doesn't open them to the world as such. But what it does, it brings down that barrier to entry, first of all. You can almost mentor them through the process as such. But it gives you that, again, it's another way to engage without generating that horrible word cold call.
Yeah.
But at the base level, as I said before, Microsoft did their own research and said that, that 3 points in the cycle, how many times do we lose candidates in the cycle and we don't know why we've lost them, why they've come out of the hiring process? And it could be something as simple as a LinkedIn profile sucks. Often we don't get that feedback. And Microsoft are telling us that is a big key a lot of the time. So it benefits us on many levels. Okay?
Brilliant, Andy. Thank you.
No problem. Well, in summer I spoke on stage alongside Facebook, LinkedIn at TechRec, which is in the UK, one of our largest conferences. And I was asked by quite a few people, and like, Roy, you've asked me to, today share some of these strategies. But on that day, I spoke at this conference and I didn't do what we normally do. I didn't normally hang around afterwards for the beers and everything that happens. I actually got in a cab. I went straight away to go and see my mentor. And I was, one of my mentors shows me how to use webinars to recruitment clients. I know something that you're a big advocate of as well, Roy. And that meeting alone it's probably made me over $75,000, in the following 3 months on, what I learned from that session. You see, if you get told by anyone who comes into your business that you need a new Facebook page, or you need just LinkedIn, or you need a new website, or you need Twitter, I urge you to really think about what advice you're getting, and think about the bigger picture. The online space is moving really, really quickly, really quickly. I've spent over $50,000 in the last 12 months alone on my own training. I continue to invest in my own training, in my own mentors, and I will continue to. The problem is in recruitment, and there's the reason you got me on here, Roy, is let's be blunt, we've been fed BS, haven't we? I was talking to a big company actually in North London, and they were moving into Germany, and they'd spent over £4,000 on pay-per-click to find new candidates, and they'd been given that advice by their marketing manager, who came in on a 1 day a week sort of consultancy. And the problem is candidates do not use pay-per-click to look for jobs, and they won't do. They've been conditioned to not look at job on ads on the right side of the page for jobs. So it's £4,000 down the drain. This is coming from a leading marketing manager, and that's because we're just being fed so much BS in the market. But I swear, if you follow the steps I've laid out here, you absolutely will be a market force. You will get clients and candidates approaching you. And I think, Roy, you firsthand, you've seen some of the results we've gotten. This chap here from. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, look, I know a few of you out there that are part of my coaching group. I'm a big fan of Andy. I've introduced, apart from using Andy in my own business, I've introduced him to a very small selection of hand-picked clients, and these people are very, very discerning. All right, they don't suffer fools gladly. They've spoken to the other guys in our industry that hold themselves up as marketing experts, and they've shown them very, very short change, and with one or two of them, they kicked them out the door. So I was very reticent, in terms of introducing anybody, and I am introducing and recommending anybody into that client base, that small coaching group that I've got. But I've got to say to you, to the one or two that have taken Andy up within that group, and there are a lot more that I'm talking to, but the one or two that have taken him up, the feedback that I've had is awesome. Strategies that he's given them instantly have given them results, and solid results, more clients, more inbound inquiries, more candidate referrals. And I'm not talking about the ones and twos just dribbling in, and more hits on your website. These are inbound client and candidate inquiries, and it's a lovely position for those companies, because they're saying to me, look, our guys are good if they've got people to talk to. Andy's strategies are giving us more people to talk to. And in my own business, Andy, I'm going to stop after this, just, I won't blow any more smoke. But I would say, even in my own business, working with Andy on a couple of really key strategies has given me instant results. More people, more exposure, more people that are contacting me and asking me, look, tell me more about training. So I'm a big fan, and that's why I got Andy to come and talk to you guys. I was really keen to try and share and get this man out to the people like you that need it. All right. So thank you, Andy. Thanks for coming in, and thanks for showing us this stuff.
Well, thank you, Roy. Thank you. But some of the results we've got, like Edwin here, he had instant results in the first 8 weeks from applying just one strategy. Rima here ranked number 1 out of 4 million results, immediate impact on candidate traffic. There's yourself there, Roy, and so forth. So you got immediate results, but what it comes down to, everybody, is this model. I've been doing this now for 17 years, and marketing, as I said right at the beginning, it's a metrics-based process. It should be a metrics-based process, and it will always be a metrics-based process. It's becoming more mathematics-based, with more and more technologies. But this model here, effectively, is the model that we should be applying in our business.
Andy, just to interrupt you, that last slide was a little bit blurred, and I don't know whether everybody else actually. I could imagine a couple of people saying, "Oh, I needed glasses," but is there anything these graphs and that mind map that you've got just slightly blurred? Are we able to look at them in more detail or see them afterwards?
Yeah, I think what we'll do, Roy, is give opportunity to to have a one-to-one on this and go through any of these elements themselves, with their own business.
Thank you.
Bespoke, because
Okay.
I say, if every strategy should be bespoke to your business. There isn't just an out of the box strategy that works at every business. Each one is bespoke. So these are the key fundamentals, but what you apply is dependent on your market, on your avatar, and your goals. But the key word we use all the time is leverage. And I want to get from A to B as quickly as possible. I don't believe in fluff. Don't believe in BS. We've walked the walk, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this. I've made so many mistakes over the years, and we'll continue to do so. But we also get results, and it's because we work on models. So in terms of where you are now, where are you now in your business? I just want you to think about, I read something today. Everyone's winding down for Christmas, but in fact, we've got 7% of the year left. So we've still got time to actually be doing things now to actually get ourselves set up for success in 2014. And that's what we should be doing. We need to be really leveraging our time and, these strategies. If you apply them, I guarantee you'll get results. This is the sort of business you can have. You can crush your competitors and win their clients. You will attract the clients. You will be seen as the number one authority in your niche by clients, superstar candidates and competitors, and you will be contacted directly by client decision makers who ask you to work for them, and you will be approached by superstar candidates. This is what happens. But the key thing is, when you leave this session, you need a clear plan with real world objectives, and the whole social media grayness that everyone is, we need to have these different strategies, but what's the end game? Is it a cohesive strategy you've got? Is it a proper lead generation funnel, or is it just shoot and scattergun? But you need a process that's going to give you a real world result. So these are some of the results we've got: 1,246 new candidates in 8 weeks, £100,000 worth of new business in 12 weeks, authored books, created automated systems, inbound leads, become the sector authority, how to get celebrities endorse you. We touched on that today, and so forth. Goes on. You can create white label products for your own business where you can engage and sell to your candidates. But these are real results, and these are results of that model I showed you just now. This is what we've gone through. If you're really serious about your business, is I want you to think about how you can really take 2014 to the next level. And Roy asked me to speak today. He did ask, could I give an opportunity to speak with you guys? And just to let you know, I'm a massive advocate of learning. And it wouldn't be fair of me to let you leave this webinar if I didn't allow you to learn a bit more. And I'm not going to say anything right now, but these two guys here, Rick Sheffron, a guy in America, big strategy guy, Mike Fulsane, big marketer. These guys are both my mentors. And guess what? These guys are mentors too. So having a mentor changed my life. And it's only when I made the investment in my first mentor things really kicked off. Creating the whole lead bounding generation process. It really changed the way that things developed for me. And in fact, I don't know if Roy, you've got any comments on this yourself, but from what I've seen, even in recruitment, the key leaders in recruitment, they've all got mentors.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and I totally endorse that. People that know me know I pay homage to my mentors almost every day. I wake up and I thank them for the learning that I've had. So those early guys, the James Kahns of this world, the Tony Burns, the Ann Swains, that early part of my career. But even today, to this day, I have mentors, on the subject of digital marketing. Andy, you've become my mentor just in this area, but there's a whole heap of other people, you have to keep refreshing your learning. And I think, even as a veteran of 26, 27 years in our business, if for a moment I feel like I've cracked it, someone please give me a kick up the backside, because I know I haven't. I've got to keep learning, keep investing in that learning. So yeah, I'm a great advocate of mentors.
Yeah, I am too. I've still got mentors now, as you know, Roy. So in terms of what I've shown you, we're going to get to Q&A in a minute, so you can ask me any questions in the box and see if we can help you now live on this call. But I went through the hardship myself of learning this the hard way, and I've made so many mistakes along the way, and but we've now gone through the most of the pain, hopefully. But I learn every day new things, so I really want to share this moving forward. I know Roy, you wanted to give the opportunity for for those about moving forward as well. So I'm looking for the next set of success stories, and this is it, guys. This is This is essentially the model that we should be following. Very, very simple model. We don't like things complex, but when you implement this in your business, you're going to start to get that incoming leads. You're going to get that positioning, and I can help you build this from scratch. It looks like a lot, but it's not. It literally is 7 hours a week. Apply it in your business, you'll get results. These are the sort of the things you can expect from working with me. We call it the R&D phase. Recruitment, niche domination, very grand. But effectively, we go through three phases. Number one, assessment and planning. So where are you now? Where do you want to be? Then number two, the key thing is what is the fastest and most profitable route, and no BS route to get you from A to B. So how can we get from A to B as quickly as possible without all the fluff, without setting up loads of different websites, blogs, Facebook pages? Some of those might be needed, some might not be needed. And then we base it on metrics. So how can we improve, scale, and dominate? So those are the three key phases. In phase one, we do a business audit of your current marketing. We do an SEO audit, a social media audit, a mobile audit of your website, a conversion audit. But then we create a bespoke, personalized plan for your business, a set of outcomes for your business to be the market leader. So if you actually got a lead generating website, if you've got an automated candidate engagement funnel, but we set out a plan to create these. But then we create a matrix. So where do you want to be in 6 months? So example being, who are the 50 companies you want to do business with? Who are the decision makers in there? What's their role? What's their name? And then we identify a plan around actually influencing these people. It could be we do it online, it could be we do it offline, it could be a combination. But then very day one, we take metrics. We take metrics of where your business is, incoming leads, incoming calls, incoming business inquiries, and so forth. Then we've got a base to start with. Then phase two, this is where the fun happens. And phase two kicks in straight after the first week. So now we get straight into actually dominating your niche, how to get featured in the Wall Street Journal, how to build a candidate database, how to be a dominant brand in your niche, how to have world leaders in your niche to promote your brand. So we go straight into this, and it's all about getting from A to B as quickly as possible without the fluff. Now, how to have
Andy, can I just interrupt you just for a second?
Yeah.
And look, this is absolute gold dust. It really is. And I know we're going to deal with some questions. You've got a Q&A session coming up. But if I was a recruitment business owner, I don't know, working in a suburb in America, or if I was working in, regionally in the UK, is this, when we talk about dominating, getting published in Wall Street Journal, if I'm a regional recruitment business, 1 or 2 branches based in, I don't know, the Midlands, is this really, how am I going to apply this to my market and my particular niche?
Yeah, great question. I can give you a case study on that. The company we spoke about earlier, the education company, they're based in 3 counties in the UK, and they had that exact same challenge. But what they were doing, they identified 200 decision makers,
Right.
but they were taking the completely wrong approach with it. It was purely online. That's the case study with the MP. And so we create a bespoke strategy for your market. So whether you're national, you're international, or whether you are literally a local business. So that's why if anyone comes in your business and says you need to do this without understanding your business and your targets, run a mile. Each one is a strategy to your market. And in that case, that's why the MP was a person of influence in that market. And that's why we chose to use him.
So it may not be that we, if I'm that regional business in the Midlands, we go for, I don't know, Forbes magazine or Wall Street Journal. It could be, look, the biggest press in our area is this, or particularly for my situation, it could be, as you've mentioned, an MP or some other local figure that is most relevant to me in my situation. I think that's what I've got from here is it's truly bespoke. It's not one cap fits all and we're going to get everyone published or we're going to get everybody doing the same things, because that wouldn't work, right?
Absolutely. It's not one cap fits all. There are base fundamentals that every recruitment business should be following, but the actual application implementation is down to the niche and it's down to your target. Who is your target client? Who is your target candidate? So it is truly bespoke, and it has to be. Yeah.
Good. Thanks, Andy. Thanks for clearing that for us.
No problem. So in terms of that A to B route, you need to be creating, as Roy's pointed out there rightly, a bespoke strategy. But the key thing there, everybody, is leverage. How can you leverage and get instant results? So in the first sort of 2, 4, 6 weeks, how can you see those metrics grow? And that's what we want to be doing. And then phase 3, this is where it becomes the geeky side of what we do. You start to look at your metrics. and you start to look at how you can leverage. Once you've got your metrics, then you know where you can scale, you know where you need to tweak, you know where you need to grow, you know where you need to pull back. But when you get these metrics in place, then you know where to apply the pressure, and that's where you get very big growth very quickly. So that phase 3 is really important. But this is what's going to happen. You will become the recruitment go-to person. It's as simple as that. This process has worked time and time again. It works in recruitment. It works in other niches. But believe me, if you don't do it, someone in your market will do it. Someone in your market will do it. But when you do it, you're going to see that lead generation just grow. So this is what you can expect when we go through this. We've got a weekly inner circle training, which is where we do online trainings. We go through a webinar each week. We give you the latest strategy in terms of, it could be online, it could be offline, but in terms of growing your business, in terms of marketing and business growth. We do live weekly group coaching with Q&A, and then this is where it gets really cool. We work live on your business every single week. So we look at, this is your strategy. So after our first call, we identify where you want to be in 6 months. In that session, we then identify your target market, your target clients, your candidates, and we work backwards and we create a plan. From that plan, we then distill it into monthly objectives, then weekly objectives. Then all you do is you focus on the weekly objectives. I focus on the big picture. You focus on the weekly objectives. And we break it on week. So what happens is you start to see this growth, this compound growth every week. What you also get is you get full email support from me. So you get that email support from me 5 days a week, 24 hours. We say it's a turnaround. In reality, I'll probably get back to you in 2 to 4 hours. You know, this is my key driver. So it's just such a need for this, I believe, in the market at the moment. We just need to be really like positioning ourselves now as the go-to people. And as you know, Roy, we used to do a lot of specific training, but now this holistic approach is needed for businesses. Yeah. You know, this bespoke approach is really needed. And you know, over 6 months, you know, we put our money where our mouth is. I know if you apply what we show you, the results you'll get. But I know, you know, Roy, you know that we do this now, and you did ask me to give an opportunity, but I'll be blunt, Roy, we don't work with everybody. In fact, you know, there's a lot of people we choose not to work with, and I don't work with moaners, I don't work with whiners, I don't work with excuse makers. I don't work with people who refuse to take action. But if this is you, if you're an owner, if you're a recruitment leader, if you're a director, if you're hungry and you're ready to be the niche leader, and you're ready to do a bit of work to get inbound positioning, inbound leads, and become that leader, you will get it. And it doesn't take a lot of skill. You just need to be willing to do the work, 7 hours a week. But say it doesn't matter if you're a complete newbie or a multi-billion-pound dollar business. We've got one of our clients writes a strategy for 3 of London's leading recruitment businesses, and he's one of our inner circle. And so we've got all manner of different levels. But say this is my main focus now, and it will continue to be my main focus. This isn't some cheap product or some cheap home study course. This is real life coaching, where my focus is your recruitment business. You know, and I know, Roy, you said we take Q&A, but what we'll do is, you know, Roy's asked if we can do something special for you. So when we speak to you on the phone, you know, if you choose to, you know, we'll discuss that. But there's an actual application process for this, Roy, though. So very careful about the results we get. And we want to get you results. We want to be certain you're the right sort of person. So if you go to tidyurl.com/authority and fill out that survey, we'll see if you're a good fit and see if we genuinely believe we can get you to be the leaders in your niche, and see whether you've got the right business, and we'll decide whether we think we should take it forward. And you'll hear back from us, whether it be a yes or a no. You'll hear back from us about whether we should move it forward. And if it's yes, we'll get onto a strategy call. And if it's no, we'll let you know as well. But yeah, that's what we're looking to, you know, just the key thing, Roy, you know how passionate I am about the whole go-to person. And it's a big focus in 2014. I think it needs to be.
And that's the thing, Andy. You know, I know exactly where you're coming from in terms of we don't have lots of time, as an industry, and also us as individuals who don't have loads of time. The business owners out there don't have loads of time. So this isn't about, just open up and let everybody get in and like, yes, you can implement it. We just can't afford to waste time with people that aren't prepared to put this stuff into action and work hard on their business. Because I'm presuming, look, this isn't some kind of magic pill, silver bullet, the ones I was talking about earlier on. This is going to require work from people, right?
Absolutely. I think one of the questions on the survey is if you've got 7 hours a week to assign to this, if you double the time on that, obviously you get there a lot quicker.
Sure.
But as I say, it has to be metrics based. So you take a snapshot on day one. We agree what your target's going to be on month 3, on month 6, and then we set a plan in place, and then we work to that plan. But yeah, there is no silver bullet, Roy. There is no one size fits all. But there are ways to do this and to do it a lot quicker, as I think I've demonstrated with those case studies. There's a lot smarter ways to get that position and get those inbound leads.
Well, Andy, listen, I know you're going to carry on for a little while. I'm just going to say to my guys as well, if you haven't clicked on that link or copied and pasted that, get it onto your browser now, because I know when Andy says spaces are limited, Andy, how many are you saying? Is there 5 members that you can take
5.
on? All right.
It's
okay.
It's only small groups. Yep.
Stop right there, Andy. Okay, my guys that are here on this webinar, get applying, all right? So get onto it, because I don't want you to be the ones that don't get in. I'd rather you were at least considered in terms of application and you get into this. Okay, sorry, Andy, I interrupt you. I just want to make sure my guys don't miss the boat on this one.
No problem. Thanks, Roy. Well, in terms of moving forward, what we'll do is we'll look at the applications this evening. It's now 5:30 UK time, so my friends in the US, EST must be your lunchtime, and we'll get back to you, at some point this evening or tomorrow morning. But then with everything, Roy, now we like to move quickly, so we get these calls done tomorrow, Saturday, and we get moving straight away next week, because we've still got 7% of the year left. There's still plenty of time to get moving, and that's what we want. We want results, don't we? So I'm just conscious of time. We've overrun vastly compared to what we did.
Sure.
I don't know whether, Roy, you want to perhaps surmise some of the key questions your guys might have rather than go through them all, and perhaps it might be easier that way rather than, I know we've got a lot
Listen,
in there.
Andy, I've got, look, and thank you so much. I think you've covered a lot of the stuff that my guys have asked, but I've got some questions that they've emailed to me directly, just to kind of get some feedback from you. One of the questions is, does this really work? Now, because they know me, they're saying, okay, Roy, look, if you're saying Andy Whitehead's, the best and he's good, they're trusting that. But, does it really work? Are they able to dominate the niches, as you've said, crush the competition? I love that expression, I really do. Does it really work? Where's, how much guarantee is there going to be in this?
Yeah, well, that crush competition actually came from a client. Here's a phrase he actually used. That's what he wanted to do. Yeah, absolutely. Everything we do, Roy, there's a full guarantee on this. So any point you just say so. Everything we do is always full money back guarantee. We really do put our money where our mouth is in that way, Roy. So yeah, everything is guaranteed. We've got numerous case studies and so forth. And in terms of what we've done, but I think as soon as you get onto a strategy call and how much effort we put into the strategy side of the thing, Roy, you'll see straight away that the way everything is so bespoke, and it is applied specifically to your business, to your niche. One of the first things we do if we choose to accept you is one of the first things we do is we do a full appraisal assessment of your online presence. But then, if we deem it necessary, we also do it of your competitors as well. So we know about your competitors' social presence. We know about your competitors' websites. We know about their links. We know about who's going to their website. So we can look at all these things, and we run reports on you. We run reports on them. So everything we do is so much depth to it. And in terms of the results, yeah, if you follow the steps, and We agreed that the outcome. So, for example, the client I mentioned earlier, she's done $85,000 in the last 5 months, and we agreed on $200,000. She's been in recruitment 17 years, so she knows recruiting, but she's just lost her
Yeah.
way in terms of actually becoming that person. Her niche. What niche you're in? Well, I'm in secretarial. I'm in IT. She wasn't in a niche. She was a generalist. So we had to come up with a different strategy. So
Yeah.
we wouldn't agree to metrics if you didn't believe it's real. But yeah, these things work, Roy.
Okay, Andy, I know another thing that's going to come from people within my group. It's coming up to Christmas. It's Christmas party time. Everyone's kind of thinking about winding down. And I know my guys really, really well. They're going to go, oh, Andy, Roy, I'm not going to, why do I want to do this now? Why don't I just kick it off in January of next year or February of next year? And what do I say to those guys? Because I want to be able to go back to them and say, look, you should be doing it, and this is why you should be doing it.
Well, I think most people fall into that category, but next year's a big year, Roy, and it's you can be one of the herd who I'm going to do it in January, and fall into that headspace. The reality is, what's going to happen is we'll have a call in the next couple of days, have a strategy call, lay out the plan, and I'll give you distinct steps to implement straight away. So when it comes back in January, the first week in January, you've already got that collateral in place, so you can hit that straight away. So January is a big time, and you will hit that.
You've already started working on it, right?
Yeah, so you've done it in the next. But the things we're going to do for you, on one of the slides, I think I showed. I share my entire Rolodex with you. So, for example, if it's content, if it's video, and so forth, we're going to give you the very same people we use. So, we don't pay thousands of pounds for videos or hundreds of pounds for videos. We pay dollars for videos because we've established contacts over the years. But I'm going to give you those contacts and a plan, so we implement it straight away. But secondly, we're only taking on 5 people for this, Roy, at the moment. So the 5 will be gone, and next year we won't be opening again until later in the year, I don't believe.
Okay, so if my guys want to get it, they've got to apply quickly. It's like there's only 5 spaces. They've got to apply quickly, and hopefully they're the people that get in. If I don't get in, so Andy, again, playing devil's advocate, if I'm one of the people that apply and don't get in, what's the biggest reason why people aren't allowed in to the inner circle?
The biggest reason, consistently, Roy, and it always will be, is mindset. Is down to even if you're a generalist, you're not quite sure, because say most businesses don't know what they don't know, and after the strategy call, there'll be a lot more clarity. But the key thing is, you get if we work with someone and they don't apply what we're showing them, then by association, it'd be deemed failure. So I need to know, we're going to lay out a plan. This is what we're going to do. Follow the plan. You will get the results we agree to. You will get that. So I want to be associated with people who implement and who get the results. So it's down to mindset. Mindset's the key thing, Roy.
Brilliant. Okay, Andy, look, there's probably a whole heap of questions, but I think that covers it off for the ones that my clients have asked me, and a few have emailed me as your presentation's gone on. So if people do have any questions about this, what would you advise them do?
I think the best thing is still go via the survey, because we get a hell of a lot of emails every day. But when it goes through the survey, they get answers straight away. So any questions, still go through that, and at least we can get some clarity, because one of the girls will pick up the survey and then get back to you with the time to speak. So that's probably the best way and the quickest route to speak in.
Fantastic. Andy, listen, I really appreciate we've taken a lot of your time, and thank you so much for investing that. Feedback that I'm getting directly is, wow, this guy's blown us away, and it's really hard. I know, Andy, I know what it's like to try and deliver so much in such a short space of time. One of the biggest things, the only kind of complaint I heard is, oh my God, this guy's talking so quick, there's so much, I can't write it down quick enough. And that's because I know the type of character you are. You're just trying to give maximum value in the shortest space of time. So look, on behalf of my clients, and also on behalf of the recruiters that have joined us that don't know me, I really would like to say thank you to Andy Whitehead for just once again delivering and over-delivering masses of value. For my guys, I'm going to just reiterate it once more. If you've not pasted that link into your browser and just taken the survey, please don't come knocking at my door and saying, Roy, I haven't got more candidates and more clients. Okay, you know how I'm gonna react to that. So please, I'm imploring you, anybody that's serious about growing their business, getting more clients, more candidates, dominating their niche, you've got to click on that survey. Andy, thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your enthusiasm today. Is there anything that you'd like to add?
Not at all, Roy. Thank you. And for those, my clients on the call, thank you for your time again. And no doubt I'll speak to lots of you one-on-one in the next few days. And Roy, again, do check out Roy. It's royripper.com. And for those of you I've not met before, hopefully we'll meet very, very soon. But thank you, Roy, for the opportunity to speak to your guys.
My absolute pleasure, Andy. Thanks for delivering value over and over again. Listen, we'll see you, Andy, at some point, and I hope to see everyone else out there on the recruitment world. If you've not linked in with Andy or I, please do so. We love to connect with recruiters that are interested in growing their business. Thank you very much. If I don't speak to you, have a great holiday Christmas period. Take care. Speak soon.
Bye-bye, everybody.